Hi everybody, this is a video to explain how to solve a system of equations using inverse matrix. Well, I'm going to show you how to find the inverse and then later on show you why it's useful. It's kind of backwards to what I normally do, but I think it's easier to understand it that way. Okay, if you got a 2 by 2 matrix, A, B, C, D, the inverse you just find with the formula. So 1 on AD minus BC, you'll recognize that, that's the determinant. And see the A and the D, we switch them around. The B and the C, we make them negative. So you switch the leading diagonal, you negate the trailing diagonal. Okay, it's all about diagonals. If your determinant 0, there's no inverse. We call that a singular matrix. Okay, now in this video I'm only going to deal with 2 by 2s. If you have to do higher order matrices, use a calculator. Some courses they might make you learn how to do 3 by 3s and 4 by 4s, but they'll do it a different way. They'll use row reduction. Okay, so I'm not expecting you to learn any formulas or anything like that for higher order matrices. Use a calculator. So here's a couple of examples just to make it really clear. If A is 6, negative 3, 1, 0, then the inverse will be 0 minus negative 3, leading diagonal minus trailing diagonal. You switch those two numbers, you negate those two numbers. Now, if you're going to use this for a further calculation, which you probably are, just leave the 1/3 outside. If the question's just this, find the inverse, well, divide everything by 3 and make it a nice neat matrix. Okay, once again, here we go. Just sub the numbers in the formula. Simplify. Okay, and you can either leave the answer like that with a fraction outside, scalar multiplier, or you can multiply in. If I was going to use this formula, this matrix for further calculations, I much prefer this format to the fraction expanded format. Leave it in this factored out format. Okay, how's matrix algebra different to normal algebra? Now if I'm solving for x here, I have to divide both sides by a. But with matrices, if I'm solving for x, what I can't divide, I've got to multiply by the inverse. And it's really important here that I multiply by the inverse on the left-hand side. A inverse times B is not the same as B times A inverse. It has to be on the left-hand side because A is on the left-hand side of X, so the A inverse has to be on the left-hand side of B. So just remember what I've written here in red. This is how we solve matrix equations. A times X equals B, X equals A inverse times B, in that order. Okay, here's an example, or here's the theory. If ax plus by equals e and cx plus dy equals f, we can rewrite that as a matrix equation. Then we've got this matrix here on the left. We take its inverse and we multiply it on the other side. Okay, then we find the inverse and we multiply out to solve it. I'll show you an example to show you how easy it is. Okay, here's our system of equations. Let's rewrite that as a matrix equation. And look, it works, right? Minus 5 times x plus negative 4 times y equals negative 6. 4 times x plus 2 times y equals 6. It's the row times column system for multiplying. So rewriting as a matrix equation, simple step. As long as everything's in the same order here, x, y. Simple step. Okay, step 2, take the inverse. Well, I haven't actually done it there, I just multiplied by the inverse. Now I'll take the inverse, okay, using the formula, and now I'll multiply out row times column, I get row 2 rows and 1 column, to -1. So the answer is x equals 2, y equals -1. That was pretty fast. If you need to watch that again, please do. Thanks for watching. Good luck with your matrices.